New Zealand, you morons! The reason I'm so angry is brought to you by Ambassador Cruise Line. But no, they actually make me very happy. So they let me go cruising with cricket legends in December.
Oh yeah, that's marvellous, but it's what, I know what you're saying. Go on, finish it off.
No, it's fine. And the reason I'm so angry is going to be explained in 30 seconds for today's Final Word Daily by Daniel Norcross.
Australia scored an awful lot of runs, 148. It was always going to be too many here at Sharjah, here in Sharjah. And Australia have won. They've won by loads. We're going to tell you all about the precise amount and why that matters and what it's done to net run rate shortly. But it was a performance of dominant brilliance from a side of magnificent athleticism that can bat so deep that Sophie Molyneux's coming in at number 10. They can even withstand the loss of 6 wickets for 39 runs in 38 balls and walk away with a massive victory that basically puts them through to the semi-finals, albeit not quite exactly yet. You never know, but you know what I mean. Hey ho, same old, same old.
So I'm feeling very silly at the moment because at the halfway stage, Australia got 148, and until yesterday, no team had got more than 119 here. But despite a score of almost 150, I went, you know what? I reckon New Zealand could do this. They might make it work. It could be possible. Wrong. So wrong by so far. Megan Schutt, I think, at one stage had figures of 3 overs, 1 maiden, 2 for 2. New Zealand were crawling along at 4.5 and over. They've gone from 54 for 1 to 60 for 6. And it's just
Vicious.
The reason I'm so angry
Yes.
is because the most amount of nuance and texture and context and excitement we had in this World Cup was New Zealand beating India and throwing this group kind of upside down and expanding the number of permutations that could be possible in this competition, and they've mucked it up to such an extent that those have pretty much all come back level.
Well, yes and no. I mean, what it's
Okay.
actually done is it's brought Pakistan right back into it.
Okay, maybe
Because
I'm less angry.
Pakistan are
How
now,
does that work then?
Pakistan are now second in the table because by losing by 60 runs
Yeah.
and having won the first game by 58 runs, they now have a very, very, very slightly negative net run rate of like
Yeah.
0.0 nothing,
Yeah,
you know.
But
Well,
would that
now
still
that
be bigger
means-
than India's?
It's bigger than India's,
Ah.
but it's not as big as Pakistan's.
Ooh.
Because India, you may recall, failed to beat Pakistan in any way sensibly. Because we were railing about that the other day
They
in
did.
Dubai.
I think I was...
And so now what you've got is a whole series of rather exciting little mini games being played.
Okay, I'm getting less angry.
Australia have got to play against Pakistan.
Okay.
Australia have got to play against India.
Yeah.
New Zealand, well, they've also got to play against Pakistan.
But they've got to play against Sri Lanka.
Yeah. So what you could well find is you get a situation now in which Pakistan are now right back in the hunt. You could even get 3 teams who have won 2 games vying it out for
Okay.
second place against an all-conquering Australia. So actually, it's the nerd's dream. And you are
Okay.
nothing if not a nerd.
I think I've got this wrong. So I kind of forgot that other countries other than India and New Zealand existed.
That's right, Pakistan exists as well.
Yeah, well,
And they're quite handy. Do you know Sharjah
Like,
Iqbal, by the
cool.
way?
Yeah.
You know we keep on saying that Sophie Eccleston's the #1 bowler in T20 cricket. Well, do you know what? There was a period just before yesterday's game in Sharjah when Sharjah Iqbal actually went top, and then Sophie Eccleston picked up 2 wickets and she went back on top.
so it was like for 24 hours.
Yeah, it was 24 hours, but hey, come on, I'd take being #1 in the world for 24 hours. I was once my schools triple jump champion for 15 minutes. So a whole 24 hours sounds great.
So what are our main takeaways from this? What have we learned other than Australia continue to be better than everyone else they play against? New Zealand, I feel like this is unfortunately a
It's
potentially...
actually recording, isn't it?
Yeah, it's ticking up.
Okay.
Genuine fear just raced through Daniel Norcross's body, and so too mine. She said it was such authority. But we are recording. You are still listening and watching us.
And what did we
hopefully.
learn? I'll tell you what we learned.
Yeah, please do.
I mean, we did know it, but until you see it in the flesh, and it's just quite an important thing, isn't it? Annabelle Sutherland is a truly brilliant bowler.
Correct.
She's not even in the top 4 of Australia's brilliant bowlers. Sophie Molyneux is a truly brilliant power play bowler. She's not even in the top 2 of Australia's truly brilliant power play bowlers. Megan Schutt is an absolute monster. What'd she go for? 3 runs in the first 3 overs, 2 for
Yep.
3.
Yep.
I mean, pull the other one, it's got bells on it. We saw Marizanne Kapp do something like that yesterday. Well, this was like even better than Marizanne Kapp. We haven't even got round to asking when Talia McGrath's going to have a go. Are we going to let her bowl? No, doesn't look like it. And don't get me started on poor old Grace Harris grazing out in the deep.
Yeah.
And Grace, who is my favourite Australian player,
Yep.
inevitably was the one who got first ball duck after I bigged her up when she walked out to bat and said those cars are in trouble, you know. She's gonna smash one of these out of the park. First ball, bang. Anyway, we'll come to that a little bit later. What we learnt is that Australia are absolutely supreme. Now, Can they be beaten? I don't know. I think they can by a supreme innings from a truly talented and brilliant batter. And Sophie Devine is one of them. She didn't come off today. Susie Bates is one of them. She didn't quite come off today. She didn't just not quite. She didn't really come off at all.
No.
Mealy Kerr is never going to be that person who's going to do that. She's somebody who could support, say, a Sophie Devine. So it needed those two to work in tandem in much the same way as Danny Wyatt-Hodge did yesterday with Nat Silverbrand. That's the only way you're going to hunt down the runs. What is I have been saying and banging on about for 18 months is that I actually don't think that in terms of boundary hitting skills, bowling skills, that Australia's batters and bowlers are better than the best 5 batters and bowlers in, say, England's team, possibly even in India's team.
Yeah.
But just to give you an example of Beth Mooney, she hit 2 fours today. She hit the remaining 32 runs in 30 balls. That is a non-boundary strike rate of over 100. Of over 100. That is the Andy Zaltzman Busyness Index gone berserk. That makes Belinda Clark look much the same, actually. She did something very similar when she got her 229 not out. It's very Australian. They run and run and run and run, and they do get fatigued, but it doesn't stop them continuing to run. In the field, they're monsters. They turn 2s into 1s. With the bat, they turn 1s into 2s. That is the difference. Today, Australia scored 148 runs. Do you want to know how many boundaries they hit today?
I'd love to know.
13 fours and 1 6.
I don't know if that's a lot or not. Is that not a lot?
England yesterday
Okay.
hunted down 125.
Yeah.
How many fours do you think they got?
More.
14 fours and no
Okay.
6s. So Australia got 2 runs more in boundaries, hit the same number of actual boundaries. So the difference between Australia and their opponents is not that they are just smashing the ball out of the park. It is that they are supreme athletes who run like the clappers regardless of how punishing the conditions are. And other countries, I don't think, have got closer to them in the intervening 18 months. But some of those countries do have standout players who are just as good as those Australians. And actually, you know, they did collapse badly today. They didn't make as many runs as they might have done. When they were 109 for 2, and they lost 2 in 2, thanks to Mealy Kerr. First getting Perry, then getting Grace Harris.
Yeah.
Then actually they looked a bit fragile. They needed that large buffer to get them up to that big score. Although it turned out that they didn't really need to score anything like as big as that because they won by 60 runs.
It's quite interesting because it kind of reverses or inverses the modern mantra of 2020 cricket, which has basically moved to, in the last 5 years, don't worry about running. It's gone to the point of like,
That's right.
just try and put it out of this crowd, lads. I remember Rovman Powell, the West Indies men's captain, gave a great interview last year where he said it incredibly sincerely after they'd beaten England for a second match in a row, and they went, like they're better at getting 1 than us, but we're better at hitting it for 6. I was like,
6
that's,
is more
I was
than
like, that's
1.
more than 1.
Yeah.
That's way more. But then you come to a context like this competition where we are having these massive outfields and the slow outfields and the slow pitches, etc. And all of a sudden, that non-boundary strike rate, that ability to turn over the strike and find the gaps and be able to move across your stumps and work the ball into the leg side is becoming so important. I feel like with Australia, they have that Death Star element to them, and I just find it something interesting in terms of just watching them warming up in the field. And this is, I don't know whether this is me being a bit kind of like, not snotty nose, the opposite, just being an arsehole basically, of like,
You?
yeah.
An arsehole.
When you watch Australia warm up where they're taking their catches in the outfield, they've got a coach in the middle and he's absolutely belting the ball up. It's huge, it's enormous. None of them are wearing fielding gloves and they're just swallowing and chucking it in, and they're ready and they're mean and they're about to do business. And you see like other teams warm up, and hey, fielding gloves are used by everyone across the globe, but like there just seems like something different where these people are like, we don't need protection, we're gonna catch it, it's gonna hurt, and we're gonna win. And you're just like, as a unit, they seem very unstoppable. So if we're gonna let's park them to one side. They're unstoppable, brilliant, well done Australia, you're really, really good. How does like New Zealand, how are we matching them up in this run to the semi-finals? What are we thinking? Because I thought their win against India was an amazing example of what is possible for a lot of these teams when you take a lot of these teams outside the top 3, when your supporting role players play a role beyond their normal cameo.
Yeah.
Georgia Plymouth up top, for example.
Yep.
So rather than just relying on runs from Sophie Devine and Susie Bates and that getting you to 140, Plymouth, rather than getting 10, has got 13. That gets you to a winning total, basically. And I thought that again today. I wondered that today with someone like Mealy Kerr, who's obviously one of their New Zealand's main players. That moment of 2-2, where she got, who was the first player? She got Perry and then Grace Harris.
2 googlies.
Consecutive googlies. A very good way of telling you it was a very good googly is I watched back the second one and I went, I don't think that is a googly. And then I went, that's the point.
Yes.
And it's the point, and
That's
I'll not
the
be able to
point.
pick at it. And I was looking at it in slow motion.
Couldn't pick it.
And where people, basically, I was like, with New Zealand, you know you've got Bates, you know you've got Devine, you know you've got Kerr who can have moments of magic like that. You know you've got other players who can potentially contribute. Will that be enough? And how does that match them up against Pakistan and Sri Lanka in terms of that kind of race for second?
Well, I think New Zealand is still favourites, aren't they? Because they've beaten India. That's a big one to do.
I've just spent so much of my life watching New Zealand lose, so
Yeah,
I can't fathom the idea that they're going to knock over Pakistan, Sri Lanka, no bother.
Well, I'm not sure that they will knock them off, no bother. But that'll be part of the fun of it. You see, I think Sri Lanka are toast because they've lost their first two, and they'd have to win their second two, and permutations and bad net run rates. Now let's forget about them. They might win a game somewhere on the line. They might, but they're not getting through. Pakistan, well, they kept it to a 7-ball loss against India, and if they actually do something sensible, like have Fatima Sana bat in the top 4 or 5.
I was even annoyed at Devine at 4 today. Like it comes like the 12th over. I'm like, where have you been?
Where have you been all my life? Yeah, I know.
Get in.
Yeah, I know. All that sort of thing. I agree. I think people need to be savvier and need to be a little bit smarter about how they're going to use their very best resources, and they've got to risk it a little bit more, because that's the only way you're going to challenge someone like Australia. But to get through, I think what's happened is that this group's got very excited, and as I say, Pakistan are now in the mix.
I'm not as angry anymore.
Means that the India-Australia game is going to be thrilling. It's going to be
really
interesting to see.
For that.
Will Australia maintain their standards when they're virtually through?
I think they might pump them. I think they might absolutely batter them.
India?
Yeah. Australia battering India. I don't see
entirely possible.
Like India have shown nothing across the 2 games to give any impression that we always say, and I've just done it. I've just written a piece for someone, and I go like, the 3 best teams are still the best, and I'm like, but Australia are just better. Like they do visually, they are better.
Yeah.
Than India, and I think they are better.
They're bigger as well, aren't they? They grow up on barbecued meat stuff, so the sun actually grows them like it does flowers, and they've got all the advantages.
I was watching them.
They're in a land girt by sea. They're in a land girt by sea.
Remarkable. Anyway,
as is Sri Lanka for that matter.
I can't remember where I started my point, so I'm going to finish it by not finishing it. We're going to go to a break. Brought to you by Ambassador Cruise Line. Then on the other side of it, Daniel's going to do an amazing ad read. We're going to do the Hall of Fame. And that'll be the end of the show.
Oh, okay.
Hey, we're back. It's the final word, brought to you by Ambassador Cruise Line. It's day 6.
Yeah.
That's
like we've been here
here's the ad read.
Yeah. 6 in a row. I've got double-headed tomorrow as well. Right. Here we go.
Woo.
Have you ever wanted to get in the mindset of what it's like to bowl to Adam Gilchrist in front of a baying whacker crowd?
What?
Or to find out exactly what mental reserves are required to produce a Test match triple ton at Lord's? Well, my friends, Ambassador Cruise Line's Cricket Legends Cruise gives you the chance to find out. You'll spend 7 nights sailing to the best of Europe's port towns, where you can learn directly from Alex Tudor how he dealt with Gilly's flashing blade, and ask Graham Gooch how he put India to the sword. Ambassador Cruise Line offers not only world-class theatre and other entertainment, but also formal and informal get-togethers with Alex Tudor and Graham Gooch, along with the game's most recognisable voices in Jonathan Agnew and the legendary Henry Blofeld. Mixing with greats amongst the most comfortable cruising and the nourishment of wintry delights in Amsterdam, Antwerp, Rouen and Honfleur. There's no better way to spend 7 nights from the 12th of December. All this at the ridiculously generous starting price of £559 per person. And that's before you get 10% off, because you listen to us. It's incredibly easy. Just visit ambassadorcruiseline.com and pop in final word 10. What is that?
Final word 10.
It's final word 10 at checkout, and you'll be sailing away, beating the winter blues.
Beautiful, isn't it?
Oh, I think there's a little bit more.
No,
that's all in the show notes. Check it out. Ambassador Cruise Line, giving you the chance to cruise with cricket legends this December.
I feel like if someone offered you the chance now, that in 15 years, Blows is dead. Sorry, mate.
Oh,
How old is he? How old is he?
Early 80s, he's still going
Okay,
strong.
let's go 20.
25.
And then there is 25, and
Modern
there is
science.
there is a final word being done outside this ground, and the chance to cavort with cricket legends such as Jonathan Agnew and Daniel Norcross.
Or Cameron Ponsonby.
No, I think your name. My dream
Oh, don't.
is in
Oh, don't be silly.
50 years. No, 40 years.
40 or 40 years.
How
yeah.
old are you? Let's get 2 generations. So that it goes Blowers, Agnew, you,
Yeah.
me. So if we knock off those 2, next year, me and you, cruising with us.
I hope
next
this on
December.
this thing. We're not going to knock them off. Honestly, we're not going to knock them off.
Don't tell me what I will and won't do.
Okay,
Thank you
all
very
right.
much. Hall of Fame.
Is this? Are you Generation Z?
No, I actually don't know what I am. I'm
Okay.
29, whatever that makes me.
Right.
I'm going to start. I'm going to actually do a Hall of Shame rather than Hall of Fame. This Australia kit, shit, hate it.
Do you?
It's so
What's wrong with
boring.
it?
It's just dark green and rubbish, and they have the option of playing in yellow, which is vibrant and exciting and lively.
Is that not yellow?
What?
It looks yellowish to me.
It's got yellow numbers on it,
Oh.
but it's not yellow. It's not. They play their ODIs in yellow, and it's so much better and more exciting and fun to look at. And I think the dark green just. I'm in an anti-Australian mood today.
You are, aren't you? Let it
Yeah.
go.
But they're just give me
They're our cousins.
give me
our
some
brothers and
variety.
sisters.
Give me some variation. Don't give me just.
Hey, look,
they
you
just
know.
win. They rock up. They win. They go home.
The Kiwis either appear in black
I like them.
or black with silver on it. So, you know.
Yeah, it's fine. But they don't have the option of silver.
They're monochrome, aren't
No,
they?
the option of yellow. They do have the option of silver.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Okay. Yeah, there we go. I'm just
And
angry
also
about
a
that.
land girt by sea. Now then, my Hall of Fame, well, it's pretty easy. It's one of the most hilarious reviews that happened right at the very
Oh
beginning.
my God! Yeah.
Rosemary Mare, first over, got very excited, everyone got very excited, because there was a noise. It was actually very clearly a noise of a ball hitting a pad, and you could hear it all around the ground. But the 11 Kiwis in unison.
They
all went up,
celebrated.
We've got her! We've got Alyssa Healy, she's bound to be out. Well, it's very rare when you get an appeal for caught behind that they don't actually check Ultra Edge. Because ordinarily, it isn't
point.
so clear that there's a massive gap between bat and ball. But in this case, there was a gap that, honestly, my colleague Henry Moran could actually have parked a car in. It was an enormous gap. The bat was actually sort of on off stump, and the ball was impact umpire's call on leg stump.
Yeah.
So it was about this big, ladies and gentlemen, more actually about that big. That was hilarious. And also, I suppose in other Hall of Fame worthiness, every time Australia got away with something like a drop catch or Alyssa Healy overturning her reverse swept given out LBW on the field, it turned out to be impact outside the line. Even though Beth Mooney said to her, no, you should refer it because I think it's slipping down leg side.
Perfect.
But it actually was impacting outside the line of off stump. The very next ball got smashed away for 4 because they're ruthless and robotic and brilliant.
They even
And
have,
it's going to take something remarkable to beat them.
The Mealy Kerr catch that was adjudged to hit the deck. Maddie Green
That was
dropped
so
Elise
unlucky,
Perry.
wasn't it? Because actually, in real time, the thing is that is a catch in real time. And
Yeah,
you're going to
it's
say,
out.
what are you talking about?
Morally out.
But actually, the point is that because you can slow it down to the one frame, she did have her fingers underneath the ball, definitely, but her fingers quite wide apart. So a tiny bit of ball slipped through the fingers and was touching the grass. But when they showed it in real time, even close up, that's a catch.
Yeah,
But
it was-
technology means it isn't. And actually, Anna Harris made the right decision because that's the point of technology, and that's why we do it. But those are incidental details in a day when we watched one of the greatest sports teams in the world prove once again that they're one of the greatest sports teams in the world. They are.
That's your framing of it. That's much more positive in mine.
In terms of the sport that they play, which is women's cricket,
Yeah.
they are phenomenal. And they are actually a delight to watch. I don't subscribe to the idea that it's boring watching them win all the time. I actually get goosebumps watching these incredibly towering, magnificent, fast-moving 6'2" athletic women charge around doing their stuff. Annabelle Sutherland bowling 72 miles per hour, one ball, getting somebody out.
Yeah.
And then next batter comes in, Izzy Gaze, bowls her a 57 mile per hour slower ball, gets her out as well. Means they've got all the tricks, they've got the lot, they've got it all.
Well, you've made me feel bad now. Till tomorrow.
I didn't mean to do that.
Ambassador Cruise Line, where, hey, in the next coming days, we're going to get to see the most wonderful, athletic, fantastic team Australia. And I cannot wait. Daniel needs to stop being so negative about everything. Until then, Ambassador Cruise Line, we'll see you and speak to you again tomorrow.
Bye.